Alright, we got a bunch of replays we got to go through. We'll start off with our strongest, quote unquote starter, which is quick launch, which is just insane. Then we'll go on to loader, and then we'll go to tracer. As we go down the list, I believe, you know what? Fuck this. It's terrible. Hi, we're gonna go through. Hey. Hi. So, all right. So, all right. So we got a bunch of replays to go through. We'll start with quick launch. We'll go into loader, and then we'll end with tracer. The first replay that we start with is I got a few critiques of because I've seen this sort of play, and what is preview? I don't know what preview is. Oh, I see. No, we're not doing that. Alright, hi. Alright, we got a bunch of replays that we are going to go through. We'll start with quick launch, go on to loader, and then we'll finish with our tracer lines. So, let's start with this. Okay, well, this is actually important. In your draw phase, we're activating quick launch. If you can do this, you want to do this, because this is your primary way of playing around draw and lockbird. It does get caught by a full loss and maxi, so if you got defensive cards like Ash Blossom or called by, it's very useful to have them in hand before you do this, but sometimes you just gotta gamble. Alright, so the first thing we summon is our Rokket Loader, because Rokket Loader is our best starter. Naturally, we are searching Amster Dragon. That is our best search. Okay, so this is my first point of disagreement with this play. I see people doing this all the time. This is actually the worst play you could do going first in a situation like this. I understand if your opponent's got a board and you need to break it, Striker Dragon has application in that situation. But if you're going first, you don't want to. There is no priority to summon Striker first, because if this gets interrupted here, you're basically left with pretty much nothing. Your Rokket name's gone, so you can't go into any of your Borrel links, and you just haven't got anything great to go into. You can basically go into SP Little Knight. You can't go into IP because of Striker Dragon. And the other card you can go into is the Lendrous Dragon. But this doesn't advance your plays at all. You basically need to link off. You need to get your either Caliber or Detonator from deck, and it's really just a waste of resources at this point, because you will be opting to basically skip Breach, which is a critical point of the link climb, and you will instead go into Trisborrel. Maybe you make Breach later, you can argue that, but at that point you're just wasting resources. So this is already not good into interruptions, and it just puts you in a weaker position um, all around. But that being said, if you do this play, and you play it like the rest of this combo goes, you do have your normal summon free, which is an advantage. I do not recommend this sequencing. I think this is the wrong way to sequence, but you're free to do as you wish. So another issue with this sequencing is that you are already you're wasting resources. You've already used both of Striker's effects. Now, you may not think that this is important, but it is actually pretty important. That means that you can't revive anything later. Striker is done and dusted, and there's no way to recover this great resource, which it is infinitely more useful later on. It's actually really desperate to use Striker Dragon as soon as possible, because Boot Sector launch is it's just not a priority anymore. If you're playing like this, you are also just, I mean, there was no reason to try and play around Droll, because your first search was Boot Sector, and that is going to draw you right there and then anyway. So this is really not the best play. It's not a good play, and I see a lot of people doing it. Please stop. Please stop doing this play. It is terrible, and thank you. Okay, on this, there is a good thing happening here. We're getting Silver Rokket into rotation, which is very get Silver Rokket and Breach into rotation as soon as possible. Also, you'll notice that Rocket Loader is placed in this zone. This zone is sort of like the zone you can just put things in that you don't really care about, or you might leave on the field for a little bit, because this is not a zone that your links typically point to. So this is sort of like just a safe zone to place things. So this is another important thing going on right here. We've revived Silver Rokket with Boral Regenerator, and also we haven't got this in any of the zones that Breach points to, just in case we get interrupted here. But basically, this is like where you want to end. Well, not end. This is where you want to. This is the strategic place you want to be with your opening play, because this is essentially Breach will special summon a rocket from deck. Silver Rokket will banish a card from your opponent's extra deck, and also you get information on what your opponent is playing and what threats you have to look forward to, and you also have a draw from Boral Regenerator. So you're getting the full benefit of all the cards here. So this is like a key position you want to be in. The next good thing is we're getting Rocket Tracer in rotation. Basically, we are getting all our rockets into rotation. Tracer is very good to have on field because it helps you dodge interruptions, and also just take advantage of cards, and we also have the extra bodies, so we can go into Trisborrel without using up our Tracer, which is also a very strong position to be in. It's just it's just a strong position to be in. Gives you more flexibility and utility with the cards you have. This is important. You've got Pisty and Breach, who both pointing to a zone, so you can activate Pisty's effect. And also, I wanted to mention that if you're going to target something in graveyard and it's not important, you should always be targeting Rokket Loader. This does better into interruptions like DD Crow and Bestials, because you don't really mind if Rokket Loader gets banished. In fact, Rokket Loader banishes itself, so if anything's going to get banished, it might as well be the card that wants to be banished anyway. Alright, let's go on. Alright, here we have a pro move. So we are hitting a spell that is not going to be on the field after it's played, and Tracer is blowing it up. If you're doing moves like this, you're a pro. And if you're using Tracer and you're blowing up cards like Boot Sector or Pisty to just get an extra body or whatever, you really what that shows is that you're either desperate or you're just bad. So if you want to do pro moves like this, you got to keep Tracer on the board, and you got to find a way to get things that you can destroy that really don't cost you anything, and then you get a free rocket on the field. So look out for plays like this. This is really good. So Fatal Flare and Detonator plus Trisborrel or a Link Free Dragon in Graveyard is basically a free Link 5, and that's something that's very important to familiarize yourself with, so that's really important to note. Okay, so we had a lot of materials on board, which is why we're able to go to Boral Shroud first. If you don't have a lot of bodies on board, the next couple of plays can be much harder, and you won't actually have enough material to get Boral Land and Borrowed Savage on the field. But when you have an excessive amount of cards on board, you can go into Shroud first, and this is a more ideal play because Shroud has tribute protection, which is really important going to Nibiru and cards like that. It's just an added benefit to get Shroud out first, and if you can do that, that is the best sort of play, and it's always optimal. But honestly, a lot of the time you're going to play End because you just need that extra body. This is another somewhat important thing. I don't think I do this much, but if you can equip onto a card that doesn't have an activated effect or is not going to be like destroyed or not going to have an activated effect, because if I put if I equip Trisborrel to Fatal Flare and they had like Ghost Ogre and they blew it up, I mean that's just like a wasted equip card that I could have otherwise used somehow else. So it's also something to keep in mind. Alright, so you can see that we had more than enough materials to go into Borrowland, and now we can just go into Borrowland Savage. Alright, so this is basically the full board. I didn't use my normal summon in this combination, or combo, so if you have something to normal summon, you could have done even more. But basically this is the full combo, and yeah.